every single panda in the world, except for maybe one or two based on a really weird situation, is owned by China. Did you know this?
No, that's
Everyone.
crazy.
So every panda bear in every zoo everywhere around the planet is on loan from the government of China. And they put this like very weird, hard to understand thing into place where like we own all the pandas. If anything ever goes wrong, there are pandas. Every panda that is born in a zoo comes from our panda genetics. They belong to us. Like you can loan them. I think you literally rent them. I think you pay like a monthly fee to the Chinese government to
Wow,
have
this is
pandas in you. It's a whole
what the
thing. Anyway, a couple years ago, and Kyle fact checked me on all of this. I want to say, I don't know, 3 years ago, when things really, I would say, seemed the worst from the panda perspective of US China relations, China said, yeah, we're taking all our pandas back. And this is like a big deal, right? Pandas are
yeah.
a big draw to a lot of zoos, especially San
Ah,
Diego Zoo and places like that. Like kids want to go and see the panda. And
mhm.
there have been no pandas in the United States for like 4 years, 3 years, whatever it's been, because China said we want our pandas back and they sent all the pandas back. This
What?
how this wasn't like bigger, more well-known news, I really don't know. But to me, when it happened, I was like, this is terrible. Like, does this mean there's something's going wrong? Does it mean that the Chinese panda population is crashing? Does it mean that China wants to start a war and they don't want their pandas to be casualties? Like, what the hell's going on? Um, and I'm not trying to make this political. I'm just telling you how I've seen this from the panda perspective. All of a sudden, which I think is awesome, San Diego Zoo is going to be the first US zoo to get pandas back from China again.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
So we might be on the mend with China.
Yeah, so things are looking up. No, but yeah, it seems like they've sort of gone through the diplomacy, the stuff that was set up in the 1970s, which,
Mhm.
oh, by the way, I forgot to mention this. So in the 1970s, in order to foster like friendly ties between the countries following President Nixon's visit to China, that's when they set all of this up. So it was all set up then.
Yeah.
Anyway, China took back all their pandas. Now it looks like they've announced publicly that San Diego Zoo is going to be getting pandas again for the first time in several years back in the United States, which I don't know is awesome.
It's awesome, and it's right
Yeah.
here near me. I can go see pandas for the first time in years.
And it's important for a number of reasons, right? If all of the pandas are in China, there's only 1,800 pandas or so left in the world. That's it.
Wow.
If they're all in one place, if a disease breaks out, if war breaks out, whatever, there is no seed population. There is no insurance colony anywhere. And a lot of zoos and places around the world have had great success at breeding pandas in captivity. So having a pair at a facility like San Diego Zoo, which is notorious for succeeding at breeding hard to breed animals, is great because if disease breaks out or anything weird happens to that tiny little population of 1,800, which we as human beings have pushed them towards that low number, now there's an insurance colony sitting in a zoo in San Diego, and we could be like, oh, no problem. We'll bring a couple bears back across and let them go again or whatever. So it's good
Yeah,
news.
it is good news, man. You had mentioned that San Diego Zoo is known for bringing or breeding hard to breed animals. Is
Yeah.
there any others that are of interest that they've done that with?
Oh yeah, tons. I mean, you'd have to have Kyle pull up a list or something, but they're a world class breeding facility. Like
Is it
they've
just because it's such a good, like, well taken care of zoo?
Yeah, it's literally like the best zoo in the whole country, and it's
Yeah.
because their husbandry practices are exceptional. They have a lot of space, they've got great weather, there's a lot of factors, and then they've got because it has that reputation, they draw the best reproductive scientists and everything else to that zoo. And they have I don't want to say single-handedly, but pretty much saved dozens of species from extinction by figuring out how to breed them in the zoo.
That's awesome, man.
Yeah,
I
it's
didn't
a
know
And
that.
they also give a ton of grants to outside organizations,
Oh yeah.
to do conservation work, like millions of dollars a year.
Yeah. Oh yeah. No, they're an awesome, awesome establishment. It's one of the reasons I know we've talked about this before, but I hate the whole anti-zoo thing because it's like that's like an emotional reaction that does not come from a point of like understanding and logic. Oh, I
Sure.
hate zoos. Animals shouldn't be in captivity. Well, if they're not, we're going to lose a lot of them, right? And if we don't have some in captivity, not everything, but some things in captivity being kept alive and being reproduced and stuff, we're going to lose them altogether. So that's why I
Yeah.
always hate that like blanket I hate zoos statement. It's so ignorant.
So there are, by the way, there's one zoo in the US that's like rental agreement has not expired yet.
Oh,
So there
interesting.
actually is one zoo that still has pandas currently, Atlanta.
Oh,
They have 4.
Oh, I didn't know that. I thought they
Yeah.
were all gone. That's interesting.
No, they basically said, like, when these contracts expire, we're taking them all back, and then they
Gotcha.
did over the course of a couple years, and there were still some pandas in Smithsonian Zoo, and then those went back in November of last year, and now Atlanta is the only one that has pandas, but they're going to start doing it again. So
That's great. Kyle
Yeah.
just put in the list here. You were asking like what has San Diego successfully bred? White
Right.
rhino, snow leopard, California condor. That's a huge success story. Endangered
Nice.
mouse species, and the Lord Howe stick insect, which is an animal that
mhm.
Patrick and I researched extensively and talked about extensively from Extinct or Alive stuff. Like one of the really foundations of Extinct or Alive was that creature being found.
Absolutely.
Yeah.